He's like, you shut up, you shut up, punch. You shut up, punch. 80 touches in our box. It's like a flipping Amsterdam peep show, the amount of box touching that went on there, right? Like, it was shocking.
At the end of the fight, he's put the guy's hand up in the air like he thought a good fight.
Well, that's that absolute. It Burnley are just. I can't even get the words out. Burnley.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Not for Clicks Sports Podcast. I'm Jordan. That's Marvin. He is G. That man there, top right hand corner, is Ollie. He's back. What are you saying?
I'm good. I'm on the sofa this week. I'm trying to watch the Spurs game in the background. So,
what's some more tortuous?
If you hear some funny noises, it will be me shouting, screaming, crying.
Probably crying.
Timo Werner missing.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone well? Everyone good?
Can't complain, George.
Don't speak up.
Well, I can. There's a lot to complain about, actually, but
we're going to get there. Marvin, what are you saying?
Well, I'm awake, George. After watching you guys play City on Sunday, it's good to be around some energy and some vibrancy. Do you know what I mean?
So we'll go straight in, yeah? Is that what we're doing?
Listen, George. The worst criticism I can give you is like watching a Man United game. We said it all. So yeah, I'm all right.
Whoa. There's levels, Marv. There's levels.
No, there are levels. That was the level. Let's not get carried away.
Well, let's do it. I've not got any quick hits this week, so let's just do a quick catch up on the big game of the weekend, gentlemen. I mean, I find it interesting that all the rival fans are kind of pissed off about the fact that it wasn't a great spectacle. It wasn't a good watch. It was not a good watch at all. But it's not Arsenal's job to entertain you guys. Arsenal's job to get a job done. So all this, it was a crap game. It's like, no one's bothered. But Ollie, let's start with you. Who do you think the result was a better result for of the two teams?
He would have gone Liverpool with direct. We try and box him out.
Yes. I mean, City have got ground to make up. So you'd have to say it's Arsenal's. Arsenal got the better result for sure. But we talked about it after the game, and I kind of feel like Arsenal. I feel like City were there for the taking, and Arsenal missed an opportunity. I know they defended well, and they've shown that they can shut teams out, but I feel like there was an opportunity there for Arsenal if they'd gone there. Let's not forget, City had three big players out for them, plus Ake went down quite early in the game. So there was an opening there, and I just thought there were a lot of City players who were really off on Sunday. De Bruyne, Haaland, my man Foden. Silva. Yeah, they weren't at it at all. And I thought Arsenal done a great job to shut them down, but they lacked that cutting edge to actually go and win the game. And I think if they'd have won the game, I think that would have left City with a lot to do.
I mean, you mentioned the players that were missing, and you're right, but they're bringing in Gvardiol as an £80 million player that, they're not bringing in scrubs. So, I mean, there's sympathy levels for City.
No, I give you that. I grant you that. No, I grant you that, but I still feel that, it's not beyond the realms of possibility for Arsenal to go there and win. I think there's too much being made of the fact that Arsenal's not got a good record there, but teams do go to their Etihad and win. United have done it. Liverpool have done it. I just think that Chelsea have done it even. I don't mean that badly.
When did Chelsea do it?
I don't mean that badly, but I just think when Chelsea, I'm talking about when Chelsea have won titles and stuff. Chelsea have gone there and won when they've had to. And I just think Arsenal needed to go there and win, really. But yeah, it kicks on and we see where it goes from here. But I feel Arsenal had a chance to win. But yeah, definitely a better result for Arsenal than for the City.
A question for all three of you. I'll start with you, Gabriel. Has anybody's mind on their title favourites after the weekend changed from before Sunday?
Yeah, you know what? It's hard for me to say. I kind of feel a little bit like Roy Keane where I need a drink, but kind of leaning towards Liverpool now. Just looking at the running, I've always gone with City. I've probably gone with City every year for the last 10 years because I just look at their squad. Their squad usually the best, but they're just not playing well. I don't think De Bruyne is at his best, and you need him to be at his best. Haaland, I don't know whether looking like a League Two player is too harsh, but he's not looking that great either. He still scores his goals, but like his all-round play hasn't been great recently, and they just don't look their formidable best. What I rely on City for is like those last 10, 11 games or whatever it is, they usually just come into formidable form, sweep everyone who's ahead of them. But if they're going to do that at some point, it doesn't really look like it's coming. So, yeah, until this weekend, I have been City, despite City having some bad weekends. But I'm kind of leaning towards Liverpool now.
Marv?
I'm the same, I think. I think after... What I can say with confidence now after watching it is I don't think City are going to win it. And it's weird because at the beginning of the season, I said City aren't going to win it because, the likes of Gundogan and Mahrez, I thought, oh, have they replaced them? Then they looked good. But I feel like a City that's really about it, even with the injuries that they have, which Ollie just outlined, I think they do Arsenal. And I just thought there was something, I think everyone looked a bit leggy. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I mean, the running is going to be tight and there's still some big twists and turns. Like all three are going to drop points. But if you ask me to put my chips on a team right now, I'd say Liverpool. Mainly because I also think there's a bit of a Prem conspiracy as well that they want to send Klopp off with a nice last feather in his cap, and that would...
Your boys can change that though, Marv. Your boys can change that on Sunday.
So can yours.
Yeah, there's as I said, there's a lot of twists and turns, but you know what? Oh, Man U beating Liverpool twice at OT is a big ask, and I feel like every ounce, every molecule of fibre we expended. So I feel like they could come and try and roll us over with like a damn squib because we're just like, well, we beat them in the FA Cup. It reminds me like my kid plays like under-17 football, and they got battered the other day like 10-5, and there's one kid that's garbage. And when his mum said, come on, give me some more, he went, at least I scored. I think he's just 10-4 down. And it's just the same thing. Like United will lose and go, well, we did them in the FA Cup, where we got Coventry in the semi. I'm hoping I'm wrong. But, you look at the performance against them at OT and you look at the performance at Brentford, it was night and day. So you just don't know what team's going to turn up. But if there was one game I really need him to pull it out of the hat, it's Sunday. But that being said, if we can't beat G's lot on Thursday and then we also lose on Sunday, maybe that will be the final nail in Haag's coffin, which is you got to look for an upside somewhere else.
So Marv, does that mean would you if you were told you can only have one win against them in these two games, would you have did you win the wrong game? Would you prefer to win the league game than the cup game? Because
it's hindsight.
You don't want him to get the 20, surely.
It's hindsight, right? I'll take the FA Cup win if we win the FA Cup. But if we get to the final and get done in by City again, then I'd rather have stopped Liverpool winning it, if I'm honest, right? I'm not one of those people who say stay out at Wembley. I'll stay at home. I don't want to get embarrassed. Do you know what I mean? So, it's like that.
Well, you know what? On the back of that question, Ollie, and I'll start with you, but again to all three of you, who would be the team that you would, if you could choose the winner, who's the lesser evil? You first, Ollie.
City. As much as I don't like City and I don't want City to just keep winning all the time, it would have to be City because it's the least amount of grief for me if City win it. It's nowhere near me. It doesn't trouble me, and they've been winning it every year. So yeah, just keep it going. I can't abide Liverpool winning it, and obviously for obvious reasons, Arsenal's that's no good for me. So yeah, it'd have to be
briefly, Marv.
It just depends on my own discipline, George. If I can turn off my phone, maybe change my number, the lesser of the three evils is Arsenal for sure. But that's only if I don't talk to anyone after that for 2 to 3 years. So that's where I'm leveling. Anyone but Liverpool. Liverpool would really make me consider if there's some sort of rural island somewhere where I can go. But yeah, that's it.
One for City, one for Arsenal. G?
Oh, it's City as well. And City have got about 3 or 4 more years of this before I turn on them. But they're just the most harmless for me out of all the others. I don't really care about them. I don't even City won the treble last year, and I'm not even really even that mad at it. You know, I remember '99. I was like, oh man, these guys won everything. City, I'm like, oh yeah, City won it. So yeah, City have got a couple more years, and then I'll probably start hating on them too. But for now, they can have it.
All right, just finally on the game, I want to get you guys' thoughts on Haaland, because there's been a lot of talk around Haaland's ability outside the box, Haaland's big game record. Marvin, did you think that? Obviously, it was hyperbole from Roy Keane about his comments saying that, you know, outside the box he's a League Two player. But do you think there's something in the fact that world-class finisher, but actually he really, really hurts his team when they need something more?
To be honest with you, George, I'm not having any of it from Keno, right? Like, the guy is there to score goals, and actually I think his technical ability is not as bad as everyone made out. I think he had a really bad game, but I don't think his hold-up play is that bad. And like, for me, it's as simple as, does a League Two player take a team that struggled to win the Champions League season in, season out to a treble? Like, without him, who are Man City last year in their treble winning season? Can he be better? Absolutely. Is there a Premier League or any league that any team that wouldn't take him? No. He's there to score goals, and he does that. And I also think we're not blessed with like the old school number 9 where there's like 25 men who can hold up the ball so much better than him. I thought it was a bit of a cheap shot from Keno. It's one of those Sky headlines that's gone through the ages. Lots of memes, lots of stats backing Keno up, but I thought it was a tad on the harsh side.
Oh, do you think there's if he's the best striker in the world? Because I thought there was some validity in the comment, in the sense that if you look at Harry Kane, he can do both. Harry Kane's outside the box, build up play, hold up play, lay off play, running with the ball even, is of a high level, as well as being a killer finisher. Do you think there was something in it, or are you with Marvin in that the guy scores 40 goals a season, shut the fuck up and just kind of crack on with excuse my language, just crack on with letting the guy do what he does?
I think that we can't. These guys paid to come up with stuff to make people sit up and take notice. And I actually think that sometimes you've just got to say, he had an off day, he had a bad game, and it happens. It's not the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? Haaland had a bad game, but he wasn't on his own, was he? As we said earlier, they all had a bad game, and normally he can rely on De Bruyne laying him on with some chances. De Bruyne wasn't able to affect the game. Silva wasn't really able to affect the game. And Foden got substituted quite early on as well. So, or in the second half. So, I don't think
it wasn't great. It wasn't great at Anfield either. And the reports that I'm hearing are that the reason why De Bruyne, when he came off, was so angry was because he was telling Pep, "I need more." The other players were saying, "We need more from Haaland."
That's interesting. I didn't know that. No. I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Listen, he's been in and out this season, isn't he, Haaland? We don't know what's wrong with him. He might be carrying an injury. He might not be 100%. I think there's quite a few of those players who aren't quite at it at the moment, Man City. And for whatever reason, they haven't really, Marv touched on it earlier, they didn't really go all the way towards replacing some of those players that they lost last season. I mean, Gundogan was such a big player for them last season, and they didn't really replace him, did they? I mean, Kovacic came in, but, I don't think he's been the kind of, the ever-present sort of force that Gundogan was. He was a match winner for him. And I think that, they maybe made a few too many changes last season in the summer without actually changing, getting in like-for-like replacements. And yeah, Haaland's not. Maybe this is the first time we've seen him struggling for a while. Since he's come, he hit the ground running as soon as he got to the country. He hit the ground running. He was scoring goals, and we expect he's going to do it all the time. It's very hard to keep doing that, and especially if you're breaking down and you're having injuries. And he's had problems with his body this season. So yeah, I think that he's allowed to have a little bit of a dip in form, and I think this is the first time we've seen it. And we can't be leaping to massive, judgments about his all-round game. I take what you're saying, George. He isn't Harry Kane. He can't do that, or he hasn't got that all-round game. He's a finisher. So if we're looking to him to be Harry Kane, then I don't think we're going to be waiting a long time. That's not happening.
G, briefly, is he just a tool de foe, or is this a narrative that Sky have set up for everybody to kind of?
Wow, Jordan!
Wow. I'm just asking.
It's just rude all around. I don't know why Defoe became that the big as well. Because Defoe, I think Defoe's link-up play is actually pretty good. It's a little bit underrated.
It actually is. You're right. Yeah.
But no, I think he's in a bad run of form. Which is exacerbating some of his weaknesses. His weaknesses were always there, but I think his strengths way outweigh the weaknesses. And I think if once City get back to somewhere near to their old chemistry, he'll be fine. But it's not unreasonable to point out that he hasn't got the best all-round game. There are not many number 9s nowadays who do. Lukaku was the same. Harry Kane probably is more the exception than the rule. So yeah, they'll just have to find a way to compensate for that.
But do you know what I think is interesting? I think actually he does have the all-round game. I think the system that City have put him in for a couple of years now has basically forced him to just be the guy. Look, we'll bring the ball to you, just put it in. Yeah, we'll get the ball to you, just put it in. And now they're kind of complaining and saying, we want a little bit more. So I'm not so sure.
I don't know.
We saw at Dortmund. Look at his game at Dortmund. He was driving through players through midfield and scoring goals. He clearly can do that.
No, he was running that play. He ran at players a lot more, and I guess Dortmund, you have the freedom to do that. But I don't think his link up or his hold up was ever perfect, even in Dortmund days.
All right.
And I think it's just the chicken's coming to roost a little bit on it now that things aren't going well. Also, I think it probably doesn't help him that if you notice that whenever City, whether City are doing good or bad, when City are not like being incisive or putting the ball forward quite quickly, there's a lot of times where he's not doing much in the game at all. Like he's literally just standing there. And
that was praised in the season. Yeah. Sorry, that was 6 months ago. It was like, it's great. Only 6 touches a game, but he scores 2 goals. That's amazing. And now all of a sudden it's a problem. It's like,
well, I think the problem will be how does he develop his game whilst that's happening? Like, can he get better at build up if no one's giving him the ball to try to kind of to work with him? So it's a tough one for him. But that's a tough one.
All right, let's keep it moving, guys. Just before we go into our next talking point, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. We are on YouTube. Slap that subscribe button, share the thing. You know how we do by now, trying to build up our community. We know you lot watch it and enjoy it, so share and subscribe and all of that goodness. All right, let's talk about Chelsea now. I don't think we discuss Chelsea.
Can we just call out that West Ham have just equalised before we do that? Give some pain to Ollie.
Is it 1-1 now?
It's 1-1.
Oh, Zuma as well. Okay. All right. We'll keep you updated with that, even though it won't matter because when you're hearing this, it'll be the following day. So, pointless live updates. Let's talk Chelsea now, guys. I want to talk about Chelsea, and I'm really keen to hear from you guys how long you think it will take before Chelsea on the pitch will be successful again, but also out of Pochettino and Bowley, who we think will outlast who. Because both of those men are getting some serious heat at the bridge right now. I won't come to you first, Gabriel. I'll give you some time to.
But before Marv says it, can I say 10 windows? Because I know that's where he's got coming for me.
Okay. You've got a disclaimer in there nice and early. All right. Let me come to you nice and early, Marv. I've got so many notes here to go through. Let's start with that one then. How long do you think it will be before Chelsea will have a team that is functional, competitive, and even successful on the pitch? Are we talking, is the mess they're in, is this going to take another year, 2 years before you can see them back in the mix of the title again? Or are we seeing something a lot longer lasting?
I don't think it's that far off, George. Like, honestly, the talent that they've acquired, a few of them I quite like them. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, if you speak to the G's of this world, they'll tell you that Poch hasn't been playing people in their right positions. And he's, you know, it seems like everyone wants to play a centre-back at full-back nowadays, George. I mean, there was eight centre-backs on the pitch during your ball fest on Sunday. So I think it will be... I would say it really hinges upon the managerial change. And I think that's done in the summer. I think that experiment's over. And the right talent could get them in. Now, they won't contest for the title next year, but I think that they're not the right managerial acquisition. And I think the 2-3 seasons of playing some decent footy again. I also want to challenge you though, George, like who's going to last longer? Like Bowley owns the club, right? Like there's a significant amount of investment, a considerable amount of pound sterling he's put in the club, and he can just sack Poch on a whim. So, you know, it's inevitable that he outlasts Poch, right? True, I am a bit concerned though, because although I said there's a few of them that I like, there's a hell of a lot of them I didn't even know until they were signed.
Well, on that, Marvin, who are the ones you like? Because I'm looking through the squad and I'm watching Chelsea play, and all these players I've been told are going to come good and have got talent. I'm struggling to name 2 or 3 that I think, yeah, he's really good. Yeah, I'd take him. And that's not on form. That's on talent. I'm struggling to see why these guys are at Chelsea. So, well, just to maybe I'm missing it. Tell me some names.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, obviously the standout performer is Palmer, right? Like he's a great acquisition. I actually think I still think there's talent in Fernandes and Caicedo. Like I don't think that disappears overnight. I know they paid well over the odds for both of them, but I like Caicedo at Brighton. I like Fernandes, particularly in the World Cup. I don't think that talent dissipates overnight, right? We haven't seen G's boy, what's his name? Nkuku? Nkuku. We haven't seen him.
That's a Paul Mercer impression there, Marv.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That's quite bad, yeah.
But there's some talent there, George, but the pieces just aren't piecing together right now.
How much damage is being done? And I mean like on and off the field, because my initial question to Marv about how long he thinks it could be before they are competitive again is on the basis that you spent a lot of money. Bodie spent a lot of money on this squad. And you can't you can, but I doubt he'll just write off these players in the summer and next season. And he can't spend the same amount of money again. So how long do you think it's going to be before you see a Chelsea team that's competitive and even successful?
I'm actually really, really quite worried because and a lot of people, I mean, I've heard Ollie say it and even Simon Jordan say, oh, well, you know, Bowley spent £1 billion of his own pounds, so Chelsea fans should be grateful for that. People forget that in the agreement that he bought the club, there was a commitment that he had to spend £1 billion. He's gone and spent it badly. Then there were all these rumours about effectively our best players being sold off so that we can kind of finance the £1 billion that he spent on. So effectively almost balancing the books or you know, offsetting what they've spent. We're not getting European football this year, which means, you know, our profits and sustainability is almost looking bad. So what do you rebuild based on? You're basing it on the players that we have at the moment, kind of significantly improving. And I don't think they can do that without a core of experienced players around them. And going back to the original point, we can't get the experienced players in to support them. So I think it could be a few years before. Don't
give us years. Give us windows.
Give windows. Yeah,
give it to us the windows. How many windows you need, player? Come on.
I don't think there's enough windows in the Shard to predict it.
Oh, genius. So you're really worried. You think it could be a while before we see Chelsea anywhere near European places?
I am settled in the fact that we are a mid-table team and probably will be for the foreseeable future.
Wow. Ollie, you're on mute, so unmute yourself. But I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how far you think Chelsea are from being.
Ollie's grinning like a Cheshire cat.
Ollie's loving it. Ollie's absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. This isn't going to be a quick fix, Ollie. How long? Let's assume Poch goes in the summer. I think the consensus is that he probably won't be there next season. Okay, to bring in a new guy. But my point to G earlier was that they spent so much money on this squad, you can't just write it off. So you kind of got to go again with the same squad. Is it another season before we see them get in the top 8?
I mean, you look at what someone like Alonso has done in such a short space of time at Leverkusen. If Chelsea get the right manager in who streamlines what they've got there, and the people in charge actually listen to the guy and tell him, and go along with what he says, then they could sort it out pretty quickly. They spent a lot of money. They've got good players there. They could do with a striker who could put the ball in the net for sure. But yeah, they've got the bones of a squad and a team, but they just need maybe a few more players. And I actually think they could turn it around reasonably quickly with what they've got if they got the right manager in. I just don't think that Poch was a good fit for Chelsea. I think he looked at it and thought, well, this is his chance to show what he can do in this country. But I actually feel that Poch would have been better off going to a Villa or a Newcastle, where he'd have a bit more time to bed in his ideas, and the fans would be on side with him. I think that it was always likely that if the minute things turned bad, that it would be, oh, we don't want this Spurs man at our club. And that's what's pretty much happening now. So, yeah, I think that I don't think it would take that long if they got the right person in and they listened to them.
Jackson, Mudryk. I mean, Mudryk's just playing significantly better, and still I think he's average. I just don't see it.
I think Jackson's actually done all right.
Wow.
Like, he started off awfully.
That's a change, see? That's a change.
He's actually done... You look at his record, it's not that much different.
His numbers look okay, but he's not good.
Since he's come back from the AFCON, he actually has made less mistakes, which is funny because you'd think he'd get more mistakes coming back from the AFCON. But he actually looks better. The problem is with Jackson is, if he came in and he was like a guy who came off the bench and just got a goal here and there, like a Salomon Kalou, for instance, no one bats an eyelid. He's 30 million. The problem is he's come in and he has to be Chelsea's number one striker, and clearly he's not ready for that. That's the problem with Jack. I think Jackson's done okay.
Is he better than Nketiah?
I think he's got... I don't want to be on camera to say this, but I think he actually has more to his game than Nketiah. I think Jackson actually... Another reason why I feel sorry for Jackson is that actually in history, he actually started as a winger. And when you see him out wide, he actually does... He does okay. I would rather have Jackson than Nketiah. I'd give Jackson another season to kind of see how we get on with it. Right now, I couldn't say he was better than Nketiah.
But G, you're saying... Go on, sorry.
No, go.
No, I find it hilarious, like G saying he's not ready for that. He's not ready to be Chelsea's number 9. Like, I don't think he'll ever be ready, G. I don't think... You could give him the best coach. You could give him better players. Like, the guy is not good enough to lead your line. Like, the guy that you sent off to Burnley for Fana, I'd rather start him up front than
he looks good.
Jackson.
He looked terrible for us, but he's good.
Yeah, he looked terrible, but gee, that's my point. Jackson looks terrible too. It's not an either or. They can both be poor.
I think give Jackson a chance. I'm willing to see what Jackson's saying next year, if I'm honest.
The thing is, like, my barometer at United is so low. It's like, would I take this player at United? And if I wouldn't, then they're pretty poor. And Jackson's the sort of level where if we bought Jackson, I would pick it Old Trafford. Like, he is that bad.
Did you pick it for Anthony? Because he's better than Anthony.
Didn't look.
And he's half the price.
Well, you look at. I mean, cards on the table. Like when I saw that you signed Jackson, and I did some research, I had him down as a winger. So when I started seeing him play up front for you, man, I was like, whoa, I got this really wrong. My sources were wrong. But even with all of that said, I'm taking out the other right wing player. I'm definitely taking out
that's one for the Willis.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
there might be
and again, G, both very, very cool. And I don't want to get into say, Anthony's a good player. He's not. But in terms of what I would take, I think at least with Anthony, I saw enough of him at Ajax to have hope. I mean, I hope we sell him tomorrow. Let's be very clear. But Jackson, I'm just not happy. I can't see anything that. I can't see anything that Jackson does well. Right, like
all right.
Anthony can.
Sorry, I've got to end this. We spent too long on Jackson and Anthony. This is bad for the pod.
Everyone always draws for Anthony, right? They draw for Anthony, and it's like, yeah, all right, go to the lowest denominator. You know what I mean? You don't see anyone comparing their players to Mainu or Haaland now, who everyone seems.
All right.
I just asked
Let me chat about Sterling.
Can I just ask very quickly? Is Nkunku any good? Is he showing anything in the few games that he's played?
The first few games where he came, he actually looked quite good. Like the game against Liverpool that we got battered, he came off the bench, actually looked good. But it's clear that we've rushed him back a few times, and he's not ready. I think he probably just better off waiting to see next season. Like it's that bad, like with the injuries and stuff. So I still have hopes that he's good, but he hasn't been good for us.
Let's chat about Sterling, guys, because Sterling's one of those players that I just really can't put my finger on in terms of he's always had those technical deficiencies which people laugh at and make memes out of. And we saw a couple of weeks ago the penalty miss and the free kick that went out of the stadium. But then you look at his records across all three clubs he's been at, and his record is actually quite good. Even at Chelsea, his record's not shocking. It's not shocking. So I'll come back to you, Marvin. As someone that, and G, correct me if I'm wrong here, only Silva, and I think only Silva is probably getting more money than Sterling.
No, he's the top earner at Chelsea.
He's a top earner.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think his legacy at Chelsea will be? But also, do you think that even in amongst the mess, he should be doing more as he's a senior figure now in that team?
It's a good question. So in terms of Chelsea, I think his legacy will be someone that wanted to move back to London and get paid, which is what he's done, right? In terms of overall, I wouldn't conflate the two. I think he had a really good impact and like a number of top performing seasons at City. He'll go down as one of the people that helped Pep build what he built. So I think overall you've got a Sterling, see what I've done there, player overall, but at Chelsea, just mercenary money, man. Like I get paid is what I say. If they're paying, you take it, right? I think the problem that he's got, Jordan, he's really bad right now. Really, really bad.
But is he bad? Right now
Yes.
He's bad. But is it Sterling's not a good player?
No, Sterling is a good player.
That's what I mean.
Overall, like I wouldn't question him. I think he's been outstanding. I think I look at back in the day when United used to play a Raheem Sterling, when he used to get the ball and run out of fullback, I was scared, 100%. Now I'm not as scared. He'll probably do us in on Thursday, but I'm not as scared. And I think you're just seeing someone who's on the decline. Happens everywhere. I think, where he's just been a bit fortunate. Well, not
He's
fortunate.
29. He's not even that old.
I think 29 is getting old. Like, especially for a fast player, like where majority of his attributes come off his collecting the ball, running at pace. I think he's got 2 seasons left in him, George. But I just think, especially in this Chelsea team, it's really difficult to understand who's good and who's bad, right? Like, they're all playing so poorly, Palmer aside. He's just sucked up in the vacuous nature that is Chelsea right now. Very similar to Man United, right? Like, you can't... Mainu might be the Palmer of Man United, but it's really hard when a team's playing so poorly, so disjointed, without any sort of game plan or way of playing. You would expect Sterling to be that talisman that could grab a game by the scruff of the neck, and he's just been unable to do it. That game against, who did you play, G? Was it in the FA Cup? You've had a pretty smooth ride in the FA Cup.
Leeds,
where you had, who did you scrape past the other day? Was it Leeds?
You're on mute, G.
I can't remember who they played, but whoever they played, it was Scrapey McScrapey.
We had Leeds and Leicester.
And I think it was Leicester was the last one, right?
Yeah.
And he had an awful game. And that free kick that he put into Rosed, like everyone hankers upon that. And he did set up Palmer, but overall he had a poor game. And I think with him at the moment, we're just gonna have to give him good wishes, but it's not gonna get better anytime soon.
Oh, and last couple quick ones. G, Chelsea 2, Burnley 2, 10-man Burnley 2 at Stamford
With their
Bridge.
manager sent in the stands.
And the manager sent off as well. Is that a new low in terms of supporting Chelsea? Can you think of many worse results than that?
No, that's the absolute. Burnley are just. I can't even get the words out. Burnley are so bad. They're one of the worst teams in attack, one of the worst teams in the defense. And the thing that's worst about it is like they weren't even scared. They went there to 10 man and still were putting it on us. and George,
And
they should have.
even the red card was harsh.
The red card was harsh. The penalty should never have been a penalty that we got. And George, they should have won. Not only did they get the draw, they should have won. That J1 Whittaker should have scored. Seriously, it can't get any worse than that. Can't get. It probably will, but it can't get any worse than that.
All right. Ollie, finally, it's the Banter Derby on Thursday between Chelsea and United. Who needs to win more? I mean, they both need a win, but who needs to win more?
Let
me flip it. Who does a defeat do more damage to?
Well, I'm not sure. Is there any damage? I mean, Chelsea. What are Chelsea playing for? Chelsea they're not in trouble in any. They're mid-table, as G said earlier. So I don't think they're not desperate for the result. United need a result if they want to have any kind of lingering hopes of finishing in the top 4 or top 5. I suppose United need the result more. If only just to go into Sunday's big game in good spirits.
Brief word, Marv.
The brief word is I didn't appreciate you calling it the Banter Derby. There you go.
I'd find final word to G.
It doesn't matter either way.
Good way to end that one. All right, let's move on now, guys. Let's talk about something else that I think could be quite fun as well. I was at the boxing on Sunday. It was a good card. Thoroughly enjoyed it at the O2. And a gentleman, super light heavyweight, Ben Whittaker, silver medalist from the Tokyo Olympic Games, was fighting. And he's caused a bit of a stir because he's a boxer that is on the up. I think it was his 7th professional fight. He's 7-0. And he's causing a bit of stir because he's a boxer that likes to have a little bit of fun in the ring. Now, if you haven't seen the viral clips, I suggest you go online or go to his page or just Google it and you'll see what we're talking about. We're talking about someone in the vein of Prince Nassim Hamid. That exhaling of breath is Ollie frustrated there because either Spurs have conceded or they should have scored. But tomorrow you'll find that out. We're talking about Chris Eubank Sr. We're talking about Prince Nassim Hamid. We're talking about quick feet. We're talking about dancing in the ring. We're talking about mocking of the opponent, which some say is disrespectful, some say is entertainment. So I thought it'd be good to have a chat about in sport where the line is crossed between entertainer and just being outright disrespectful. And we can broaden it beyond boxing in a minute. But Marv, let me come to you first. I don't know how much you've seen of Ben Whittaker, but what are your thoughts, first of all, on his conduct, his some call it antics in the ring. Are you for it, or do you think it's just downright rude?
I am 1,000,000% for it, George. These are the characters that boxing needs. We've talked about it. Like, let me tell you, George, I used to be at school on a Friday and be so excited to watch Naseem Hamed fight on the Saturday night. There is very few people that I am excited to watch. This isn't Whittaker's first rodeo in disrespect. Like, I think he did like a 360 in the ring in the fight before. And I actually loved it because he was getting into beef with the opponent's corner while they were fighting. He was like telling, shut your mouth, and I'm banging your man up, I'm banging him up. I loved it all, George. Like, let me tell you, if they think it's disrespectful, someone's got to go in the ring and shut him up. But right now, we are starving out here for characters. We are starving for entertainment. We need people who can give us showmen in and out of the ring. That's what he's giving it. Even there was a time I saw him do an interview where he had like someone who commentated on the fight, and they said, he said, I didn't like the way you were talking. You hear me? Shut your mouth too. And I was totally here for it because that guy was flummoxed. Did you see him? He didn't know if Whittaker was going to bang him in the jaw or just put, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here for it. I think like this level, like, respect is overrated in boxing. Do you know what I mean? If you want your respect, go and earn it. Don't let a man 360 you, pat you on the head, take a punch in the face and shake his head like, nah, that didn't touch me, player. Like, I'm totally here for it, Jordan. I'm actually a bigger fan now after that fight than I was before. So like, I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it.
I must admit, like being in the arena when he was doing his dancing, when he was doing his showboating, everybody around me loved it. Everyone really loved it, and I think there's something in what Marvin says there, in that we do complain about a lack of personalities and characters in sport, and he's definitely that. I guess the people that don't like it, their argument is, bruv, you've had 6 fights, and they don't hear his podcast, but you're fighting bums. So can you do that when you're fighting a real level? Let's see how you get on when you fight a real, do you know what I mean? A real level, world level fighter. Where do you stand on it? Do you need to rein it in until you can? Is it bullying?
There is a little bit of bullying about it, I have to say, and so in that sense, like, I wouldn't say I don't like it. I would say is keep that same energy when you fight Boatsi, or keep that same energy when you fight Aziz or someone on that level. But I'm the same as Marv. I enjoy it. Boxing desperately needs. Boxing is not in a space where it can afford to have morals and principles. You know, from the doc we lost last week, clearly those are all out of the window. Boxing needs entertainers. It needs entertaining. So bring those guys in. I don't know if you saw. Sorry to add a side part, but you saw Joseph Parker's video to Dillian White. Awful. That's how bad it is. Awful. You know the worst thing about it is like when the bit where it goes, you got lipstick marks on the coffee cup, and he's actually got the lipstick. I'm like, but boxing is desperate. Boxing is at an all-time low. If this guy can bring fans back, I think the boxing purists just need to shut up and accept it.
Jude, can I also
the lipstick
highlight
bit was funny though. I must admit, the lipstick in the cup that bit did kill me. I must admit. Sorry, Bob. Go on.
What I love is the fact that on one hand, Jude's saying, "Is he being disrespectful?" On the other hand, he's calling the opposition big. Like, choose a lane, player. Choose a lane. And the thing is,
I'm just asking questions.
Like, personally, I don't think he gets those big. You're right. He hasn't had that many fights, but he doesn't get the big fights unless he gets us talking, right? Like, winning is only part of the boxing hierarchy. Like, you got to also stir up a bit of buzz around you. And why not do it against those Jordan's anointed them bin men, right? Like, he probably won't be able to do it against the Boatsis of this world, but it's that sort of showmanship where now it becomes that, will he be able to do that against great opposition, where we'll tune in to see if he's still got the same energy. So I'm totally here for it.
Did you notice that when George was calling them binmen, he looked around to see if like they were in this room or something?
I did. But I'm pretty sure. Is it Willings?
I actually did.
Was it Willings that he fought? I think he took that fight at relatively short notice, right? So he really is in the beginning of his career. So I think just cut him a bit of slack, lads. Like, you know, we need a bit of razzmatazz. And I was totally here for it. Do you know what I mean?
All right. Oh, what are your thoughts? I mean, the guys are saying the sport needs a bit of razzmatazz and needs a little bit of personality. But is that at the risk of class? Is that at the risk of etiquette? Is that at the risk of... I mean, I can't... Is it just do whatever you got to do to kind of build your brand? Is this guy doing that, or is he just trying to try a thing and he's just running his mouth?
I mean, I hear what Marv is saying. You need characters, and you need people to give us something to watch and to smile about. But boy, this guy. Honestly, I don't mind a bit of showboating, but he was taking it to another level. Honestly, the guy was stopping boxing at some point and just looking at the crowd.
He had a chat on it.
He was basically saying, "This guy is fucking shit." You know what I mean? This guy is not good enough. And the worst thing about it was that at the end of the fight, he's put the guy's hand up in the air like you thought a good fight.
Ollie, let me cut you because I interviewed him. I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and I asked the exact question. I said, "Look, do you think it's a bit disrespectful?" And he said, "No. Look, at the end of every fight, I do go to the other corner. I do shake their hands. I do raise their hands. I never trash talk about their mum or their family. So I'm respectful. But in the ring, I like to have fun." So he acknowledges that, you know, he's a piss taker, but he says that I'm also respectful. You know, that's what he says.
I'm sorry, but that's not that. And listen, as I say, I'm all for showboating, but let's be clear, yeah. This is the other man's business, you know. It's not like he's not
Ollie.
like a white collar fighter or something. The other guy is like, he's a boxer and he's being made to look a complete idiot.
On Sunday, he's boxing the guy and he's trash talking the guy's corner at the same time. At the same, he's like, "You shut up, you shut up, punch. You shut up, punch." I was like, "What's going on here?" I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
That's kind of what I mean. I just felt like there were times where, yeah, you can showboat, yeah, you can show that you're in control of the fight, but come on, man. You don't have to go to that degree to make the guy look an arse. And he was making him look a complete arse. And I just think, even if you at the end of the fight, you're raising the guy's arm and you're saying, "Yeah, well played, good fight, mate," you're mugging him off, aren't you? He's totally mugged him off. He's mugged him off throughout the fight. And even at the end when he's shaking his hand and putting his arm up, he's mugging him off. Come on, man. He's making him look an idiot. I don't. You can't tell me, "Oh yeah, all's fair in the ring because we gotta have some characters." Not like that, man. That's like, I just think that, you know, showboat all you want, but you don't have to take it that far. I think he went a bit too far.
You man are forgetting what Naseem Hamed did in the ring, you know, because Naseem Hamed took it as far, if not further, than Whittaker. Like, this is what we need, because there's no downside for us as a fan, Ollie, right? Like, if he does it, hilarious. If he gets banged in his face, lights out, hilarious. Like, it's win-win for us as the neutral. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm totally
I like G was saying, I feel like, fine, if he's doing that against top class opposition, but he doesn't need to be doing that against the people he's fighting at the moment. Fine, if he wants to take that to another level and do that against proper boxers, great. But this guy, he's basically, you know, as George says, he made him look like a bin man. He's made him look like a fool.
Listen, we are not talking on our pod about a respectful silver medalist against bin men if he ain't giving us something. He might not even get on the undercard though. Like, you got to realise, it's what Addy said when we did the pod. You need to be memorable. He's giving us memories. Let the man live.
I had to think about other sports and other showboaters and people that take liberties. I've just got a few names. I've got Neymar. He's done the rainbow a couple of times on the pitch. Allen Iverson in basketball. Usain Bolt, Nick Kyrgios. These were all athletes that, they took the piss at times in their different sports, and their legend has kind of grown for it. Now, apart from Nick Kyrgios, all those guys have won stuff as well. So, final question: is this all well and good as long as you win, or does it not really matter? Fun is fun, win or lose.
I think he's putting a target on his back to that people will actually hope he's lose. People are going to want to see him get knocked out now, and I think that could be his unique selling point as much as him winning the belt. So I don't think he necessarily has to win. I think it's maybe a little bit like Mayweather, like where people are actually thinking, okay, there's a certain group of people who watch a Mayweather fight just to see him lose. And I think he's setting himself up in that same vein.
All right, cool, fair. Let's keep it moving, guys. No Doc Watch this week, but it is time for this.
What you talking about, Willis? Oh, George, you know what? I've been taking the mick with the Willis for a while. I've been giving honourable mentions. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I've just been doing what I want, and you lot haven't pulled me up on it. So I'm going to continue to do what I want. So we have a tie this week. We have a tie because I can't split them, and we're fully focusing on managers this week, George. Particularly managers at pressers who think we can't look at numbers for ourselves. They really think that we could just say stuff. So I'm going to start with he's developing to be my arch nemesis, Mr. Ten Hag. He suggested that Man City struggled against Brentford and, we played a good game. George, 80 touches in our box. It's like a flipping Amsterdam peep show, the amount of box touching that went on there, right? Like it was shocking. And I get it. You've got to kind of keep your players engaged and like stand behind them. But to an extent, you've got to just not talk absolute crap. Man United were awful. When Mason Mount scored what I thought was the game winner, I didn't even celebrate because I thought it would be so harsh on Brentford not to get anything from that game. And for him to then turn around and say people have struggled like Man City. Man City being 3-1, George. It was a hard game, but it wasn't, they weren't in the trenches at any point, right? So I've got to give it to Ten Hag. And this is Ten Hag over a number of weeks where we've had some absolute god-awful performances, and he's tried to put a positive spin on it when not only rival fans, but the own Man United faithful have seen how poor Man United have been. So I'm going to give it to him. And we've talked about him a little bit earlier in the show. And for those of you that don't know, I think I gave Thomas Tuchel, who's also G's a fanboy of, the Willis for quoting XG. And I saw Pochettino give a quote recently that if you look at all of the data, they should be fourth. And George, can we just talk a little bit about this data, right? So joint 12th on clean sheets, 10th on goals conceded, 15th on tackle success rate, 14th on expected goals conceded, 13th on tackles won, joint 5th on penalties conceded. Like, let me tell you, anybody, whether you're a fan of our pod, just a fan, in the media, don't come to my door on XG. We don't care about XG. We care about goals. And for someone like Pochettino to come and tell me all of they are languishing. So some idiot, all I can see is some little Poindexter guy with his glasses sellotaped together who Pochettino's wife's dad grew up with back in Argentina said, oh, Richie, if you look at the stats, I've got some stats that say that you should be fourth. There's no one on God's green earth that thinks Chelsea should be anywhere near the top 5, let alone fourth. And I just really need these managers, before they get on to the mic and start talking about stats, they need to do their homework, because it's very embarrassing now. And both him and Hag need to take a look at themselves. So Pochettino and Hag today, George. And I think that's fair.
Ollie and G have never been fans of Poch. I've defended him, but even I've got with the white flag now. It's like, bro, you've lost me. You've lost
Poch
me.
of the week.
You've completely.
Not Willis of the week, Poch of the week.
Yeah, he's best new. Yeah, I liked him, man, but he's gone. He's totally gone.
I'm truly struggling because it's not just so much what these managers are saying. It's the fact that they think we're so gullible as an audience that we're going to go, oh, you know what? Fair play to Chelsea. Their XG's high. They should be fourth. Like, we're watching their games. They're poor. They've just struggled against a 10-man Burnley, Jordan. Not a 10-man City, not a 10-man Liverpool, not a 10-man Arsenal. Burnley, who I think, unless things have changed, are still rock bottom of the league, right? Like, 10 men at home, you got to win that. And I'm just not having it with those two. And like, you know, I think it's fair that both of them should be looking for new employment next year, just on their press conferences alone.
I hear it. Wicked. On that note, let's round up. G, Ollie, Marv, thanks for your time. Don't forget, subscribe if you haven't already. We are on YouTube. We're on all your favourite podcast outlets. Go share it. Go leave us a comment. Give us a rating. Say something to us, man. Show us some love. Until next week. Peace.